Good morning. Buenos días. Bonjour. Good morning. I'm going to have a Dane say that.
Come on.
Okay, that sounded better. Shabak al khair. Buongiorno. Dov'è mi italiano? Buongiorno. Where do we go now? Where do we go now? We go to Bună Dominicata. Where's my Romanian student? Ah, that sounded much better than I said it. And I have one that I'm definitely going to need help with. Where is our dear Korean student? I have too much respect for languages to try and pronounce that.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
Maybe the third time?
안녕하세요. Right.
Okay, we have an approval. Thank you so much. See, guys, why I did not want to try that one? Anyway, good morning and welcome. My name is Ivana Belamaric. I'm the Executive Director of Executive MBA and Global Online MBA. Very happy to give you the warm welcome here. How happy are you on a scale from 1 to 10? Anybody who is under 10? No? Okay, fine, done with that. How many of you are excited? Ooh? How many of you are nervous? I've done this a few times. I'm still nervous. I cannot even imagine how you must be feeling. So why are we here today? There is no wrong or right question. You do know that. And you will learn that the most important answer during your MBA is, it depends. And I'm sure the alumni will tell you a little bit about that. So why are we here today?
To start our learning journey.
Okay, we're here to learn. Why are you here today?
To learn.
To what? To learn. Okay, to learn. Don't be scared. I think I'm a decent person. Why are you here today?
To improve our experiences,
Okay, to improve our experiences. In what way?
like personal and professional way.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Anything anybody else would like to add? To get to know each other. To broaden that network. What else?
To meet new people.
Okay, to meet new people. Lee Newman, the Dean of IE Business School. Why are you here today? Then I think you need to get up and do that. Thank you so much. Lee Newman, Dean of IE Business School.
Thank you, Ivana. Are these on? Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me without these, probably. No, she forgot one of, there we go. So she forgot one of the key hello, good mornings.
I'm sorry, howdy.
Which is the Southern American. Good morning. How are you all doing? Okay, did that work? Okay. So do we have any executive MBAs in the room? Raise your hand. Give me some energy. Woo! Give yourself a round of applause. I mean, you said you were on 10 or 11 on excitement, and, so here we are. So on behalf of the business school, on behalf of the university, I want to welcome you to your executive MBA. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we are very excited to have you on this learning journey, on this meeting each other journey, on this professional, personal growth journey that you all have just mentioned. Let me give you your first assignment. Can I do that? Yeah? No? He's out. Okay. You can opt out. So here's your first assignment. I want you to look around, take a look at each other. Look around. Don't be shy. We're done with shy. Okay, so you are looking at people with whom you are going to go through a very intense experience. For some 18 or so months, you'll be learning in school, right? You came for school. That we're all clear on that part. The admissions made that clear. Yeah? Okay, you have jobs. correct? Raise your hand if you have KPIs. Me too. There are you. So you have KPIs, and then of course, raise your hand if you have a social life. Okay, put your hand back down. Social life's gone. So this is going to be a very intense period of time, and I ask you to look around at each other because you're looking at people with whom you're going to go through this intense journey, and people with whom you'll be friends for life and have an incredible network. So that's fantastic news. Some of you said you're here to meet people, so here they are. How about assignment 2? You passed assignment. You passed assignment 1 even as well. Okay, are you in for assignment 2? Thank you. Okay, assignment 2, look around again, maybe more broadly. Let's check out, jump a couple of rows. Okay, you are also, besides your friends, future friends, and future network, colleagues for life, you're also looking at your antagonists. Yes, they're there. They're out there, they're waiting for you. What are some synonyms for antagonist? Come on, I'm waiting for one. What else? What do I mean by antagonist? Competitors, okay, right? So school can be competitive, right? So we're going to cooperate a lot, but there's this whole idea of co-opetition that you have out in work. Some might say enemies, but we'll let that one sit. But there's going to be the point is there are going to be people here. You're going to be working in teams. You're going to have classes together who are going to drive you crazy. They're going to drive you a little bit crazy, right? They're going to make you want to pull your hair out. Why? What's going to happen here? Tell me. Because we're all different. Yeah, so you're different. This is an incredibly diverse group of people. You're going to hear about the class portfolio in a minute, profile in a minute. Very diverse group of people. And you come from different backgrounds. You speak different languages. You have different working styles, different leadership styles, different ideas for doing things. And you're going to do a lot in teams. And so what happens when you take a very diverse group of people and put them together? And by the way, we choose the teams, right? We choose the teams, not you, for a lot of this. So we choose your teams in a very special way. You're diverse. We give you tough assignments. We give you very short deadlines and zero budget. And what happens under those conditions? What do you think is going to happen? Better outcome. Okay, so I love that. The diversity gets you better outcomes because different ways of thinking produce better outcomes if certain conditions are in place. What might those conditions be? Communication, right? Because what's going to happen to get to those better outcomes? What's going to happen in diverse teams under pressure, managing KPIs, school, social life? What happens? Conflict, problems. I like to call it turbulence. Conflict, problems, turbulence, whatever it might be, right? And that can be the source of better outcomes. But it can also be the source of frustration, right? It can also be the source of some negative stuff. And whether it's better outcomes or the negative stuff depends on what? Respect, for sure. What else? Modesty. Agreements. Collaboration. Teamwork. Keep going, I love this. Let's take notes. Keeping an open perspective, open-mindedness, being willing to accept that maybe your idea isn't perfect and maybe actually it could be improved or thrown out because there's a much better one sitting there. Who knows, right? So, okay, so I think that these antagonists that I mentioned potentially could be the people you learn the most from. Okay, now let's let that thought sit for a second because there's some other things I want to share. But you said you're here to learn, okay? There's different ways to learn. You can learn from your professors, learn from each other. What I'd like you to think about is this idea of the next best you. This is what we do at IE Business School, okay? This is our mission as a school. It's our purpose, you could say, our strategy as a school as well. And the idea is this. Every one of you today is sitting there in your current you form, okay? You have your aspirations, your dreams. You told us about these kinds of things, why you want to do an executive MBA, where you're going with your lives and your careers. You have your strengths. Raise your hand if you can think of your top strength. What's your superpower? One or two of those. Raise your hand. Okay. So we have only 4 superpowers in the room. I hope they end up on your team. No, but you know, it's interesting. There's good research, there's good science on the fact that actually it's harder to know what your great strengths are than it is to know what your weaknesses are, right? Many of us are more aware of the things we've been told by our companies, our bosses, right, of what we need to work on than what we're great at, right? And not that many companies, even today, the idea of job crafting and strengths-based management and leadership is still not the norm, right? But is possible, right? Crafting people's roles and responsibilities in a way that makes maximal use of their strengths, right, and minimal uses of their weaknesses. Anybody from HR here? Raise your hand if you work in HR. Fantastic. What do we call weaknesses in HR? Areas of opportunity, areas of growth, learning opportunities, right? We put a lot of sugar around it. But the point is we're all aware of some of the things we need to work on, right? So your current you has your strengths, your current you has your gaps is another word we use sometimes, right? To be filled. And so the idea is of the next best you is to help you better understand your current you, right? Which will happen in short order as you go into the program. And then to chart a course for the next best you. Okay, where do you want to be after this program? What does the next best you look like? Okay, how does the next best you work? What does it care about? Et cetera, right? And so that's our mission, is to accompany you on that journey. And of course, you're going to have many classes and all the things that you signed up for. But the point I'd like to emphasize is that focus on this idea of a transformational journey and have a goal. Start to develop a goal for where you want to get to after this program, because there's so many things you can do and you won't have time to do all of them. So the better you get a vision of where you want to go, the more you can actually pick and choose what the kinds of things you really want to focus on, especially in self-development, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so that's this idea of the next best you. It has 3 pieces. I'm trained in 3. I'm a recovering management consultant. Do we have any management consultants in here? Yeah, okay. So I was trained, everything has to be 3, so we have 3 pieces of the next best you, and each of the 3 pieces has 3 pieces. So the first one is your career. Okay, so I think that part is fairly obvious, right? You're going to get a lot of business acumen in this program. They'll help you advance your career. You'll go through career discovery, thinking about some of the new things you want to do with your career, upskilling, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really important, and especially in these times. I think we are living in unprecedented times of, let's say, uncertainty, ambiguity. The whole VUCA thing that we've been hearing about for a long time is happening in full force. Right? So many forces of disruption right now, from tech, geopolitics, and we could go on and on. But uncertainty, ambiguity, if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, is what? Opportunity. Okay, we'd love for all of you to come out, regardless of whether you don't do startups and those kinds of things, to come out with an entrepreneurial mindset, understanding how you can capture value and opportunity from uncertainty. Okay, and that's something that's important to think about from a career standpoint. So that's career. Let me just mention briefly, so purpose. So this is one of the 3 things, this is something we care a lot about, one of the 3 things of the next best you. We call it business with purpose, okay? And this is not us preaching to you, this is us inviting you as leaders, as managers, as professionals, to think about what gets you up in the morning. How can you connect meaning? How can you find why and connect that why to what you do in your jobs? And it could be the actual work that you do, or it can be the way that you work with people, but it's an invitation to think about being a leader with purpose in some way. And we invite you to think about it at 3 levels. The planet, right, sustainable business practices, maybe building that into your way of leading and managing and working. It could be at the societal level, social entrepreneurship, social innovation, okay? Using your business toolbox, your leadership toolbox to make some positive change in some way in some society, global or local. And then lastly, the workplace, which I think is one of the most important things that we could think about in terms of where to apply purpose, right? So raise your hand, just a quick poll. Raise your hand if you have had a bad manager, and by bad manager, we have the hands going up already. So I'll be clear on the specific type of bad manager, because that's a very broad term. The type of manager that didn't take your needs into account, that you feel didn't take the time to understand you and help you grow as a professional. Raise your hand. Now you can raise your hands. Raise your hand if you've had one. So many of you have raised your hands, most of you, but some of you not, which is great. But what we would like you to think about in thinking about your next best you in terms of purpose is not being that kind of manager, but being the opposite kind of leader, the kind of leader that sends people home thriving, excited about their work, with finding their own meaning in their work, and being that kind of leader and manager, okay? So to think about business with purpose over the next 18, 19 months of this program, thinking about whether that's interesting to you, and if so, how might you cultivate that during your journey? Does that make sense? Okay, so let me then move on to the main point that I want to make for you, which is this idea of impact skills. Okay, this is the third part of our next best you. Impact in this case is not social impact, that's here in purpose. The impact skills are the skills that you need to make big things happen in a workplace, facing difficult challenges, difficult workplace situations, and difficult people. Okay, with an emphasis on the last one, difficult people. Okay, so let me do another quick poll. Raise your hand if you can think of one difficult person that you work with these days. Some of these people are thinking of me, by the way. I try. So it's easy for us to think about these difficult people. In fact, you probably had a tough time trying to figure out which one you wanted to call to mind, right, of your several difficult people. But let me flip it around for a second. Are we all difficult people for somebody else at work? Or can we be at times? All right, this is a humble group. That's fantastic, right? Why? Because we're bad people? No, why? Because we have different views. Different ways of working. Different KPIs, different priorities, different targets, different expectations, different agendas, different working styles, personalities, culture. I mean, we can keep going with that list, but we're different, right? And so when you put people that are different together, sometimes you get the friction, the turbulence that we talked about before. So we have to all think about the fact that, yes, other people might feel difficult for us, but in some sense, maybe we're also feeling a bit difficult for them, right, ourselves. So something to think about. And that is my main message for you in thinking about the next period of time that you're about to go through. You have the hard skills, purpose, but you have a tremendous amount to learn from each other. You have the potential for that. Okay, we put you in these teams, you're gonna work together, you're gonna be under, a lot of intense pressure in a way, managing all these different aspects of your life. Okay, and stuff is gonna happen. And the question from before is, how do we turn that conflict into better outcomes and better results? And it's up to you, right? Because we create the perfect storm in a way. We put you together, we do give you short deadlines, you have tough assignments, you do not have budgets to pay for market research or financial analysis or whatever it is, you gotta do it yourself. And so things will happen. And what I plead you to do is to be open with each other. Someone said open-minded before. Be open-minded with each other. And most importantly, give each other negative feedback. Okay? I mean, positivity in the workplace is really important. Positive leadership is something that we care a lot about. But giving people negative feedback is a gift, right? It's really a gift, right? And this is a much safer environment. You're in a university, you're in a business school. You're going to spend time together in school, right? And there's no promotions. There are grades, so sometimes some competition. But really, that's not what you're here really for, right? You're here to grow and transform yourselves. And so this is a safe lab where you can try out new behaviors and you can be humble and listen to what other people tell you, but other people need to tell you what you need to hear, right? So for example, just to make this concrete, I'm known as a bit of a bad listener, which is why they were thinking of me maybe before when I asked them if they can think of a difficult person, right? So I interrupt people a lot. I'm very high energy, like to get in on the conversation. Sometimes I'm thinking about, while you're talking, I think about what I'm gonna say next. Sometimes I think about an email I need to send while you're talking still, right? I'm in a club, it's called the Club of the Bad Listeners. We have chapters in every country in the world. It's not a very exclusive club, we'll admit anyone. Let me ask, who might put themselves in the club? Yeah, we got a lot of hands up. Okay, so it's a big club, but there are other clubs. There's also the clubs called, there's a club called Micromanagers Anonymous. What's micromanagement? What? looking at the small details of other people's work especially, right? So why do we do that sometimes? I think we all do it at times. Trust, right? You have your KPIs, your agenda, your objectives. Some of you said those words before, right? And you want to make sure that they get delivered, right? You want to be successful, you want your bonuses, whatever it is. And so you have to trust other people a lot to just say, okay, do it, right? So you're going to have that kind of trust with each other as well in school. But again, that's another club. So think right now, there's bad listening, micromanagement, but think of one behavioral trait, skill, let's say, that you might work on, that you think would give you the highest ROI as a professional in development if you were to improve it. You know, I'm not going to ask you to share it, but just think of it now. This is what we want you to start thinking about. Now, probably whatever it is you're thinking about will come out in your behavior, and I hope that you'll give each other feedback and say, listen, you're micromanaging me a lot. You're not listening carefully to me. I'm trying to explain something to you, and you're not listening, okay? Now, raise your hand if you're willing to give each other feedback. Just I want to make sure we get some public commitment here. You know, there's research that shows when you commit publicly, you're more likely to follow through. So you've committed, okay? You're committed. All right, now, what I want to ask you, in addition to giving the feedback, is to not hold people to the packaging of their feedback. Because you've said multiple times you come from different cultures, different ways of thinking, working, etc. So it's very hard to give somebody perfectly packaged feedback, especially in a diverse environment. So let's agree that when we give each other tough feedback sometimes, that the person receiving it is not going to hold you to the way you said it. Just forget that part. And maybe it sounds a little rude to you. They probably didn't mean it that way. Maybe they're just a little frustrated with you. Let the package go and take the content and say, all right, I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to think about it. I'm not going to get defensive in the moment. I might come back and ask for some clarification. That's fair. But I'm going to think about it and take it on board, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so that's my main messages. You have a ton of learning to do in business acumen and leadership, but you have a tremendous amount to learn from each other in a very safe place called school. And we hope that you really take advantage of that in this journey to the next best you, okay? So that is my main takeaway, and we're here to support you and accompany you in this journey. Before I close my part here, I'd like to thank our team. These are magic moments for you. You're starting a new phase of life. It's an amazing experience. I did my MBA 33 years ago. I wish I could do it again and be where you are, but I can't. But it's a magical moment. But these moments take a lot of work from our teams to put on for you, and so I'd love to give a round of applause to all of our program staff, our events staff who are here, because they do a fantastic job. So let me just close by a couple of key things. So regardless of where you're coming from in the world, Real Madrid is now your football team. Okay? Coffee is probably, or tea, a strong tea, is going to be your best friend probably during this tough period of time. I'd like to warn you that deadlines in an executive MBA are like ninjas. They're sneaking around and you can't really see them. They're nearly invisible. And then they pop out and surprise you. Don't let them surprise you. They're there. Try to keep tabs on them. Okay? And thank your friends and family who are going to support you during this tough period of time. That's really important. So best wishes in this program. I hope to see you all and get to know all of you over this period of time. We're here for you, and have a fantastic executive MBA. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lee. You're not such a bad listener. I think you work on it. That is good. How is that level of excitement now? Up? Down? Way up? Well done. I love that we do these feedback sessions during the opening. We should do this more often. Open more programs. I don't know. Let me invite now Lucia Herr, the Vice Dean of Part-Time Programs, to give you her warm welcome. Thank you so much, Lucia.
So good morning, everyone. How are you? It's great to see that many smiles around. It's a fantastic opportunity to share with you, to welcome you on this program. A few days ago, we were discussing with Ivana, with Marianne, and we were saying, okay, what should we give to this new cohort starting? How can we just connect with them and give them something, you know, that they're going to remember always? And they said, it's easy. Ivana and Marianne said, it's easy. Just welcome them and give them, you know, a couple of advice and reflections. which is exactly what I aim to do. The funny thing is that I organized my pitch in 3 messages, and then Lee was saying that we come from consulting, and obviously this is the rule of 3. And I didn't do that on purpose, I promise, yeah. But I thought, why not to ask you something? Why not to share a reflection with you? And why not to give you an advice? I think he mentioned 33 years ago he was just doing his MBA. Well, 20 years ago I was doing mine. I'm an executive MBA graduate from IE, and I envy you a lot, you know. That makes me very jealous. Every time I see these new faces, still not knowing what comes next, I just think, oh, I wish, you know, I could just go back and leave all that. So my ask is simple. When we finish today, and you will go back home, back to your hotel, just take some minutes, okay, to capture and to record everything you have feel, leave, heard, see today, okay? I think that's crucial. Take some notes. It's very much connected with what Lee said, where we are, where we want to end up, okay? And all those things, don't destroy that paper or that computer note, you know? Maybe one day, before graduation, you just have a look on that and you think, wow, I made that a statement at that moment. I was planning to do this and this. I've accomplished this and that. I didn't get to that point, but I think it's a great, you know, opportunity to do it. This is the ask, simple. Let me go with the reflection, yeah? The next best you is a very powerful concept, as you have seen. And among all the leadership skills or all the leadership superpowers that we need to practice and develop, I think there is one that stands out from the rest. Could you make a guess which one is it? One skill really needed nowadays, okay? The most demanded leadership skill by any company. Which one will be? Communication. Communication, okay. Oh, who said empathy? Oh, my game went too fast. Empathy. Empathy is that superpower, that is that anchor that we have that help us navigate uncertainty, that prevent us from making big mistakes. Recently was in Korea. I work in Saudi Arabia. I move around the globe. And I think empathy has prevented me from making big mistakes. I've done a lot, by the way, but not the big ones, not the ones that, you know, can put you in a complicated situation. Just try to, my youngest daughter says that empathy is, God made us with 2 ears and 1 mouth, just to listen twice as much as we speak. If you practice empathy, you know, believe me, the return on investment on this journey you are starting today will be bigger. Because that is the reflection, okay, about the leadership skill that you should just take and think about it. And the third thing, the advice, is those of us, those of you that expose the most to the uncertain, to the new, to the different things of working, living, feeling, you know, are the ones that are going to get that higher return on investment. I'm a finance professor, by the way, so I'm in that part of the core skills and everything hard that you're going to be going through in this program. But let me tell you that return on investment depends on you. It's not what we are going to give you, that we give you all we have. It's what you're going to take and what are you going to do with that. So the journey starts today. It's about the journey itself, but most importantly, it's about how you lead this time and how you're going to be, you know, developing your highest ethical standards in the journey. So I can just say welcome again. I hope we can interact and enjoy a lot of time together. And a big applause for you guys because you made it and you are here.
Thank you, Lucia. She did pretty well, I think, Mariana, to what we said yesterday. Could I have a volunteer, please? On what? On what?
What you want us to do. Speak, what to dance.
I think then you need to get up and find out. Be brave. I promise it's not going to be painful.
Okay.
What is your name?
Omar,
Where are you from?
Lebanon.
That's a wrong answer. You're from IE.
I'm a citizen of the world. That's a better answer.
So it's not going to be difficult. I just need a little bit of your eyes. Who do you see?
My best friends for the next 2 years.
Okay. That deserves an applause at least. I will tell them a little secret. I've been around IE for a few years, sort of like 19. And we have a lot of beautiful and wonderful and amazing Lebanese students. And I will send you a video, and Marianne might remember that from her times in the International MBA. You've been Lebanized. I'm warning you, class of executive MCAs, you will all be Lebanized, and it's a good thing.
I hope so.
So your best friends, what are they like, your best friends?
Diverse, fun, smart. Everybody has their shortcomings, but they help each other. You want more?
Of course. You need to post another thing in the forum.
Okay. From all over the world. United Nations.
Thank you. See, you were welcome and it was worth it. Everybody knows you now, Omar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, I agree with Omar, what he said, diverse people, best friends. I also see a lot of enthusiasm. I see eyes that are thinking very quickly behind a lot of feelings. But I will call now Marianne to tell you what your class looks like on paper and in data. Marianne.
Do you have my clicker here? Oh, wow. This is tiny. Welcome. You've seen me before online. This is how I look in the real life. I'm Marianne. I'm your program director. The rest of your team is right over here. And I was looking at the data, and I see that, well, behind the data, I can see that we here have the start of what could be the best executive MBA ever. Now, some are sitting there being a little bit skeptical, saying, I bet she says that to everyone. I see someone here saying, she said that to me. That doesn't mean it's not true. So let's look a little bit about it. So this is you guys. We have 39 students from 18 nationalities. So Omar's right. United Nations is pretty much where we are. Apart from nationalities, what else do we have? Where are you exactly from? So it always looks nice on a map, doesn't it? So this is where we are. So Africa and Middle East is heavily represented this year. Welcome. We do have Asia, North America, Latin America, Europe, so truly from all over the world. And you will see how that, you can see that in your work groups already. I don't think we have two of the same nationalities in a work group, so the diversity journey starts already now. We have 65% men, 35 women. Your average age is 37, and you have 12 years of experience on average. Okay, so some of you are a little bit more on one side of the number, and some are a bit more on the other. But this is you have studied at a lot of universities that also like blue. I started putting out the names, and it was like, oh, blue is a thing in universities. But luckily, I managed to find Berkeley and Johannesburg. Thank you for putting a little color in there. So we're going to continue with the blue now. So you have superpowers apart from empathy and communication. We have a strong number of business here. We have engineers. We have economics. And I think what is really important is that actually one of the highest numbers we have is other, which means that diversity is not just a nationality thing here, it's also in your backgrounds. You're not going to meet all the other bankers here or all the other engineers. That is going to make your work product better. It's also going to make it a little bit more difficult. But this is a great opportunity that you will also have to learn from each other. I will say this again and again, collaborative learning is a thing. And you will learn as much from your peers as you will from your professors because of these backgrounds. You will have people that have worked in things that you have never heard about, but they're really interesting and that you might want to work in at the end of this program. As you can see, we do have a little bit high in banking and finance, but with high I say 20%. So we're never looking at 80% of anything ever at IE. So we have some bankers, we have industrial products, we have chemical and energy, we have telecommunication, we have consumer products, and we have a whole lot of other things as well, which you will learn over the next week and a half and then 18 months. You work at very, very different places. We have anything from a national orchestra to Goodyear to Colgate, banking. There's a lot of others as well. I just had to choose a few. Again, with the blue. So apparently it's a strong logo color. So thank you to Netflix for for brightening that up a little bit. So what does this mean? When I say that you have the seedlings to be the best EMBA ever, it's actually not as much based on the numbers that I just gave you. It's based on what you choose to do with those numbers. So, of course, we're here and we have a little bit of an idea about what we're doing. But at the end of the day, you're the ones who are going to have to make your program. And as I said in the online opening, I want this to be a conversation. I want us to talk about what exactly your program needs. We have a couple here who had some creative ideas. I'm working on a creative idea with one of our current groups as well. So each group have a little bit of a tweak. So we have the framework and we have to move within that framework. But within that, IE is quite nimble and we're happy to hear the feedback, also the hard feedback. And we are happy to turn around whatever we can as fast as we can. And suggestions are always welcome. Also think about that in terms of with each other, and empathy, as Lucia mentioned, comes in here. You all come from very, very different places, and you're going very, very different places. So make space for the journey of each other, be generous, make space for the journey of the other. Something that you might not find super interesting is what another person needs to be able to fulfill their journey. Be careful not to rain on their parade. Be curious. As I said, there are people here that work in things that you have no idea about, working places that you've never visited. Learn from that. Grow, be open-minded. And within that, and with the data that I just showed you, this could actually be the best EMBA ever. So let's get started on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. I have no doubts it's going to be the best EMBA, with respect to those who graduated from different intakes. They were best at their times, which was the most important thing. Okay, and today is the day of a lot of welcomes, but that is because you people are important, and we're super happy to have you here. Carlos, Deputy Head of Talent and Careers, also wants to say good morning to you, and from that side of the house.
I'm going to use this. That's okay. My team tells me that I'm unable to do two things at the same time. So I listen to their feedback, so holding the mic and thinking of what to say. It's very difficult to speak after my colleagues because apart from interesting and inspirational, they're also funny. which is something that I admire and envy. So I come more from the level-headed, practical side. I'll do my best to keep the level of excitement in the room. Okay, welcome to this class, to this transformational journey. My name is Carlos Diaz. I'm Deputy Head of of Talent and Careers at our university. And I'm also an alumni from this program, Executive MBA 2012. So I envy you today. I would like to be in your shoes, of course. From my experience, what I can tell you is that if you allow it, this program can be a game changer. It can inspire you, it can challenge you, and if you allow it, it can even reshape the way you approach not just your career, but also your life. As Lee said, it can really help you create that next best you. And then, what else I can tell you? I'm sorry. Also from my experience, if you, listen to the advice of my colleagues here. Sorry, just give me a moment. What I wanted to really focus on is on networking. So making the best out of the people you're going to meet here. This is something that we see very often at IE. Thank you so much. Yes, I was noticing that. Thank you. Tapping into the potential of the network. We see time and time again that those who give the most to the community make the most out of it. It can be by opening doors, by sharing insights, by truly engaging. That's how you make the most out of this journey. And the return on investment of this program is not just on what you learn in the classroom, but also on the people and the relationships that you will build in these following months. As we know, the nature of this program is very unique. You're all accomplished individuals, accomplished professionals. Some of you will be looking to accelerate your careers in your current industry, your current company. Some others will be looking to explore other options, broaden your horizons. But what I can assure you is that the biggest asset, whatever your individual goals may be, that main asset is the people that you will meet in this program, and they will really uplift you towards your goals. So my main advice would be twofold, I think. Number one is connected to my area, so obviously encouraging you to make the most of the many career building opportunities that you will have, which includes from self-assessment exercises, executive coaching opportunities, career mentoring, and many more. And also uplift each other. I would definitely, you're going to be very, very busy, classes, work, family in some cases. But again, I would like to focus on leveraging the network. Thinking from the career perspective, that's going to be your main asset. So that can be via introducing your classmates to meaningful people in your networks, creating content. You can create masterclasses or webinars and share them with the community. You can basically engage with the IE community, and then you will make the most out of it. As I said, the main return on investment is really on these relationships. So what do I mean by uplifting each other is to really be there and thinking, what can I do for this group of people selflessly, and then you will see, I promise that you will see that return on investment. And of course, I guess that the aim for this week that you will be spending together is to connect with one another, but also to the alumni network, which is fantastic. You have an amazing network back in your countries, in your cities. I would encourage you to connect with them as well and to start tapping into the amazing global network that you're now a part of. So with that said, I would like to welcome you again. Apologies for the voice, and best of luck for your program. Enjoy the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. And last but definitely not least, I'm going to hand the mic now to Marianne and three of our dear alumni, Miguel, Betsy, and Sasha.
Come sit in a nice chair. That does work. Otherwise, you will find out later that, if you don't know where to go, just follow the sound. I'm loud enough without a mic. So, I would like to welcome our esteemed alumni who are here to talk a little bit about how they made their program the best EMBA ever. By the way, EMBA is not a word that you're going to hear a lot. You're going to hear EMBA. I have been informed that that is not a word. It is here. You will learn that we love to put anything into little short special names, and EMBA is one of them. So, but here we have Betsy Meadow, alumni from our September 22 intake. So she's had a little bit of time to sort of decompress. She works at a tiny little company called IE University. Then we have Miguel, who graduated just in December. So he's either still riding the wave or a bit shell-shocked. He works here. He's a project manager. He works at, is it Mueve?
It's Mueve now.
Mueve, right? Yes. So, and we have Alexander Savlotsky, originally from the Ukraine, lives here in Spain, works at LifeCell, and knows anything that you want to know about AI. I've learned a lot from your LinkedIn posts. So anyways, also graduated right now in December from the April 23 intake. So before just launching into it directly, I'm going to open up to Q&A in a second, because I think the most important thing here is that you ask your questions. How are you going to survive this? But talking a little bit about that, because we've been talking a lot about, like, I've showed them the entire, the one page about all the stuff that they have to do over the next 18 months, and some might be a little bit worried about that. So how did you structure it? What was a day-to-day looking like for you with family, work, a forum or two, and these kinds of things? How was a day-to-day for you? How did you manage to structure this?
I can take it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Well, the day-to-day at the beginning is hard. It's hard. You will not believe the amount of workload that you have, not only with your works, your jobs, your family, personal life, social, that probably it will come to a zero from now on. But it is true that you will get an expert into time management, okay? You will reduce from your life actually most of the things that they aren't useful, like, for example, hours in, TikTok or Instagram or whatever. It was for sure will be neglectable. And actually, you will become, at the beginning, very hard to understand, no, because it's a new life for you, but all has a learning curve. So the probably first time will be pretty stressful, then second term, workload will be the same, but you will manage it better. And the third time, it will be when you will enjoy the most of the program. Or at least it was for me.
Yeah.
Let me just add, like, a short summary. Cancel your Netflix subscription and get ChatGPT instead.
I mean, I also have a different perspective. The same perspective as well. I think that there's a huge learning curve, and you'll find your way, and you'll find what works well for you. Once schedules from professors and from your group are established, you'll feel a lot better. And then you'll get into a groove, and then it'll change all again when you have new expectations from professors and with a new group. But I think that you learn to be more agile once you know yourself better, once you're able to set your own priorities. You can cancel your Netflix subscription if you wish, but I also think that maybe we'll ask more questions about this, but I think it's important to prioritize yourself as well. Obviously, you're here to study, you're here to learn, you're here to contribute, and you should be doing that as high of a percentage as you wish to do and you want to do, but you also need to prioritize yourself and find those things, whether it be social experiences or, you know, taking care of self-care, of working out or whatever it may be, to make sure that you're kind of having a balance as well, because if not, it doesn't matter what happens in the academic side of things, you're not going to be able to function well if you don't take care of yourself. So you'll find the balance and become more agile doing so each day.
And we've just been talking about, like, you know, different expectations. I just showed a fancy number of graphs and all these kinds of things. So by diversity day to day, is it all that it's cracked up to be? How does it help? How does it challenge?
So I can start. I mean, it is challenging. I would say for me personally, it was like both the most challenging and probably the most rewarding part of the MBA. And I mean, I'm talking about diversity, not just, you know, like geographies or nationalities, but also, you know, background, experience, mindset. And I mean, it was kind of challenging at the beginning. The whole MBA is a lot about the teamwork, and you're going to have a very diverse team with very diverse backgrounds. So make sure everybody feel included. Everyone can showcase their strengths, but also have a chance to learn new things. And yeah, I mean, you gotta make it. And I don't know, for me, that's probably the most, I don't know, memorable experience about MBA, working in such a diverse environment.
Yeah, for my side, the diversity, I think at the beginning, as Shasha said, it's going to be hard. And I think that how we work it was you find a common ground, and once you find this common ground, you start building on it, right? And you will realize that even either you believe it or not, but you will need from your colleagues, and your colleagues will need from you. Sometimes in 2 years, I mean, it's a very long time, and you have sometimes some personal things, work things, trips that you will not be able to perform as you should be, and the other colleagues will pull from you, and the other way around. So, and on that regards, you will find this common ground is regardless where you're from, background, ages, and that's really the basic thing of diversity that I found.
I mean, it's been said by everybody that came up here before. I think like the key pillars in everything is, number one, to be kind to all of the people that you're studying with, even if they're not your best friends or they're not going to become your best friends. Be kind, and also empathy, because everybody's coming from diverse backgrounds culturally, professionally, and maybe, you know, somebody in your group doesn't feel comfortable speaking up because they don't have the same skill set that you do. I, for example, don't come from finance or banking or the corporate world, and I had extreme imposter syndrome this day right here. I remember speaking to people in the coffee and thinking, oh my God, what am I doing here? I don't know how to do this. I have no idea what this person is talking about. Seriously, like, how am I gonna be later thrown into a group of all of these people that are C-level? What am I gonna bring to the table? You will bring many things to the table, depending on the class, depending on the assignment. So just be kind, listen, be an active listener, and have empathy, because like you said, I mean, you will always learn. You always learn from other people. You will be able to teach other people things, and there's going to be one day where you're going to be the person that's going to be bringing everybody up and picking everybody up, and then maybe one day you're going to need it as well. So it's a long journey, and yeah, be kind, definitely.
And be kind to yourselves as well.
And be kind to yourselves.
Because we sometimes forget that. We're like, oh, be generous and be kind to others and be understanding, but also be understanding of yourself. That every once in a while, you know, I think one of the things I say the most during the program is life happens.
Yeah.
You know, you make plans and then life happens. And whenever it does, make sure that you lean on your peers and lean on us. Let us know. We can help. We can't do your exams for you. You don't want me to do any of your exams, I promise. but we can help. So remember also to be kind to yourself, I would say. Yeah.
Definitely.
Any questions from you? Because I think that would be the most important. Yes, we have one in the back there.
Did any of you get a major change in your life after the MBA? Like, did you change industry, jobs?
Well, I'm in progress, so I will tell you later.
And peers of yours that you know?
Well, the peers, we've got some changes, but during the MBA, while we were doing the MBA, some of them changed the jobs, and some of them actually got promoted. I personally had the major change just before the MBA, so but it will help you. It will help you. At least for me, during the MBA, that I changed. I moved from the technical side to the more managerial or financial side, and it got me a really good background on that regard. So
I haven't had a major professional change. I would say I'd have more personal changes as a result of the MBA. I do know people that during the program made major industry changes, and also I can think of two people, okay, being one of them, who actually established their own startup during the program itself and just received Series A funding and is doing absolutely incredibly. But if, I don't know, I can take your email, I don't know who asked that, your email, and can write a chat. I mean, I was, just as the opening was happening, I was writing in my chat, sharing pictures to people of all the people that I studied with, saying, hey, look what's happening. So I can ask and see, touch base with people and see.
No, but also take that into consideration. You have a whole network here of people that, so if you are looking to change, we have people that move, like they change jobs, they change countries, they change continents during the program. So make sure you reach out, because there will always be something like, hey, I'm starting this, or I'm moving to there. Like, you have friends. So yeah, it does happen. And it happens during the program as well, which can be extra challenging. So again, make sure you let people know what's going on for those kinds of things. Other questions? Yeah.
Hi. I have a question more related to the way we study and the way I would love to learn from your experience. Like, if you can take us through a typical week for you during the MBA. You know, we all know we need to participate on the forum. We all know that we have our online classes on Saturday. But I would love to hear some tips that or practices that you had during your 18-month, maybe that can help us, help me, and help everyone. Some tricks, some things that we really need to focus on, some things that will add more value that were not really announced properly, probably. So I would love to hear those things that, beside participating in the forum and reading the forum.
I mean, I can start just like a basic. It's really important to read the syllabi. I mean, it sounds like pretty basic, right? No, but I mean, it sets the expectations from the beginning. And I think something that really worked with all of my groups, and all of my groups worked very differently, and had different meeting times and different dates that we would meet to organize things, in different ways that we organized ourselves in terms of tasks, is to sit in front of your computer or during this week, and then when you come together again the next time, and read the syllabi and see when the deliverables are due, and I don't know, do what works best. I mean, my first group, we literally mapped everything out on a calendar and said, okay, this is when this is due, this is when this is due, to have group deliverables and to have individual deliverables as well. I think setting expectations in that sense is very important. I also think communication, another theme that we've just spoken about, but communication is so important because, I mean, we spoke before about micromanagement. I realized through the program that I'm a micromanager and that I didn't trust my group because I hadn't worked with them before. So for the first few assignments, and after we went back online together in September, I was essentially waiting in my house on a Saturday night or on a Sunday, waiting for people to finish their part and becoming resentful for people not having turned in their part on time for me to give the final once over and then turned it in on behalf of the group. And then I realized, hey, you should communicate your needs better. Maybe Jose has a family. Oke has 3 children and she's in a different time zone. Evgeny's in Russia and he's traveling a lot and doesn't have access to internet. So, I mean, maybe that's not a best tip, but communication as well and setting expectations. And if you have a need or if you have a desire to communicate that, because maybe somebody is blissfully unaware of the fact that you're sitting at home, not having an hour of social time because you're waiting for them to turn in their assignment.
Yeah, I can add a little bit. I actually have a kind of great article on that on my LinkedIn page. At least 10 people told me so. Yeah, but just to cut a long story short, I would say get organized. Like, I mean, as not just syllabi, but maybe in general, spend some time just browsing the Blackboard. You will need it. I mean, I'm not saying you will love it, but you're gonna need it. And yeah, just sync your calendar with the IE calendar. As soon as you know the deadline, just add it to your calendar, and better have like at least 1 day before notification. Just pretty much basic stuff, and it helps because, I mean, over time the workload, it will grow. So if you feel like, oh, I'm doing fine now, well, better invest some time now. So when it, you know, that moment comes, everything will be organized. You know where all the information, you have all the notifications, stuff like that. So you will just become more effective. You have no chance. You will have to become more effective.
Can I add one more thing? I also think it's really important, like what you said, to take care of yourself and to set realistic expectations. There's so much reading. There's so many assignments to do. You can give 9,000,000% of yourself, but it's not physically possible or mentally possible to do if you have a family, if you have children, or even if you don't. I don't have a family. I don't have children, and I at one point had to kind of scale back a little bit and create realistic expectations for myself to be able to manage the workload and to be able to manage my own professional workload as well. And also, like I said before, have an outlet. Define an outlet that works well for you, whether it be going to the gym or whatever that looks like for you, or family time, and like maybe even put it in your calendar if you need, and communicate it to the rest of your teammates to say, hey, listen, from this time to this time, that was something that Jose and my cohort did, and my group, and I did very well. Hey, on this time from Sunday from 2 to 5, I'm going to be with my wife because I don't see her during the week, and this time is sacred for me. And you have to learn how to adapt and how to work around that, because that's important for Jose, so that has to be important for me to be able to work together as a team.
Yeah. Other questions? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Betsy. And I was just about to ask about well-being and work-life balance, and in this case, it's like work, study, life balance. You shared your tips. I would like to know a bit more about how you managed to do that during the program, because it's also an important part of the program, well-being. So how did you manage to do it?
Me personally, I'm not sure I'm the best example, honestly. I mean, I'll share with you guys because now I'm open and can talk about it. During the program, 4 months into the program, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. She's fine now. But, I had just gotten over imposter syndrome, was finally on the path to understanding what was going on and really getting into the groove of things. And then she was diagnosed. So for the rest of my program was shorter than theirs. My program was 15 months. So during the rest of the entire academic year of 2023, I was working full time. I was doing the MBA. And I was going back and forth. I'm from New York. I was going back and forth to New York every 5 or 6 weeks to be with my mom, with my family, supporting during chemo. And I didn't take care of myself. And I just kind of gave 200% until the end of the program. And then in January of 2024, realized that I wasn't okay because I wasn't taking care of myself, because I was taking care of everybody else except for myself. So that's why I'm on the more emotional side rather than the operation side, I guess, of the business side of the program. But I saw people doing that during the program, and I didn't realize that that was very important to do. And if I could go back and do it again, that's what I would tell myself, that I would schedule some time, either now to do yoga, which I've found, or to go to therapy, or to meet with friends. You know, it's obviously important to do your work. It's obviously important to turn in your assignments. It's important to show up for yourself and for the rest of your teammates because you're working as a whole. But you also need to show up for yourself emotionally and mentally. I don't know if you guys know, how you did it. I did a bad job, but that's my one regret, that I would try to figure out how to show up for myself better. Because I think that I would have gotten more out of the program academically had I taken better care of myself.
Well, technically, from the program, I want to bring some of the one thing that the other speakers already said. I mean, the program is entirely up to you, and up to the whole cohort. I mean, and you will see that the more that the cohorts or your colleagues are participating in the forums, in the VCs, in every single task that you have to do, you will see that you will earn more. And if you contribute more, your colleagues will learn more from you.
Yeah.
And it's entirely up to you. Some people, you will see that they will allocate 1 hour per day. Some people, you will see that they will allocate 6 hours per day. And that's entirely up to you. Regardless of other topics, we all have personal things. We all have our works and our trips and our holidays. And so you'll need to manage, and you'll need to manage the time every day and the time you allocate to your personal life and to your well-being. I mean, if you enjoy staying with your kids and that's your patience and your mindfulness time, have it. And actually, you will perform better after that.
Yeah,
and for sure, and I will bring one thing that Marianne said in our welcome ceremony. I mean, you will not get 100% always. I mean, you are not going to get there. Sometimes you'll need to leave it where you think it's enough is enough. And sometimes the optimum is not the best.
Yeah, just kind of set your priorities. They are different. We are different, and your priorities are different. But yeah, for me, this was like actually becoming more effective at work at my company, and I kind of invested into my team at work, so empowered them, like made them kind of more autonomous. So I actually had some more resources for EMBA, and yeah, it was a win-win, both for the team and for me. So yeah, but probably you will find your own way.
Did you have any specific schedule or something, or was it more like ad hoc from week to week? Because I know that some students are very much like every morning from, before I go to work, I do an hour, or I do, did you have specific schedules, or was it more like whenever I can find time, because it also depends from week to week on what the workload is?
I mean, it depends on the task. I had a schedule. My reading was on Sunday, mainly. I had scheduled I would take my lunch hour at work and work on forums. I would wake up in the morning and see if it was posted and try to contribute, and then I would have it scheduled in so that nobody would schedule any meetings for me in the middle of the day, and that would be my time. I would be by myself, and I would contribute to the forums, and then I would check again when I came home. And then obviously we had our team meetings that we established amongst our team on Saturdays after our classes, and also on Wednesdays. But then I think for me, the rest was ad hoc, depending on the volume.
No, obviously you also have to be
of course,
surprise,
flexible in a
there's
way.
a quiz.
Of course.
And these kinds of things. But yeah, I do know that some students have a very strict schedule because that's what works for them. And others are a bit more well, I know I have to check in a couple of times, but it depends a bit on the day. So it depends on work.
No strict schedule for me, because I kind of need inspiration. But yeah, normally I was trying to post in the morning. We did have some teammates with a significant time difference, so they were basically posting at night.
Yeah.
So if you come in the, let's say in the evening, afternoon, it's not much to add. I mean, everything is like covered in like, oh my God. So that's why I was kind of trying to do it in the morning. You have more opportunities to add value.
Yeah. Okay, does that help? A lot. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, we have one there.
I just want to say thank you to Betsy, actually, because I'm going through something similar, and it's confirmation that you kind of need to be selfish with your time and yourself. And most of us here are always so giving and empathetic to people, but I feel like the next 2 years is really about ourselves and progressing and working with the group to get further, and that's why we're here. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's very nice.
It is it's a difficult balance, right? Because you always have the thing about like the team. So you can't. It's hard to prioritize yourself over others in general, but then on top of that, when you're part of a team and you've made some promises there, you have some commitments that you have to follow, and then you have your own things that you also want to do and everything. So it is a difficult balance, but it's important to have it in mind. You will have sessions on well-being throughout the program as well, because it is like, and we can see that whenever students struggle in the program or in general, it's because that balance got out of whack for whatever reason, because life happens.
Yeah.
And then if you push away dealing with it, it can make your program a lot harder than it had to be. Yeah. Sometimes it's the only way, and hindsight is always easy to fix. But yeah, do make sure that you allocate time to everything, which is impossible. So sometimes, exactly, you just have to prioritize. And I sometimes talk about the MBA as it's a buffet. We offer so many things, like just within the program. And how deep do you want to go into, I don't know, strategy or finance or whatever the thing is so there's so much. And then on top of that, you will see that announcements is a thing. And we'll go like, by the way, we offer this, and oh, do this as well. And did you know? So there's just so much, and it can become overwhelming because you get this FOMO feeling, or this is a once in a life. It was just last week in Segovia. And one of the students, when I said like, wow, you have a lot, like, this is the last Tuesday of this week. And I'm like, sure. But that's kind of the feeling you get, like, this is the last, third session of finance of this program. It is, but it might not be the most important thing for you, even if it is the only and last one. So make sure you also make those choices for yourself, and remember that everybody has a different journey. And make sure you support the journey of others, but that you choose your own as well. And then when we offer something really, really interesting, it might be really, really interesting, but it might not be so important that you need to do that as well, right? So yeah. Other questions? Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sorry, guys, I'm the kind of person who asks
I like
a lot
it.
of questions.
You're going to be very
That is an
appreciative.
important skill.
Especially because I never thought I was going to be doing an MBA. I'm kind of more of a communications designer kind of person, so I never thought I was going to be here. My question is, considering the pillars of the program, a lot of people tend to talk about the skills that you acquire, but I was more interested in knowing how your purpose, both as people, like as a person and professionally, changed after the program. Did it change you somehow as a person, as a professional? Did the program make you discover a new purpose in life somehow?
That's a great.
That's a big one.
I don't know if I discovered my purpose through the program. I think that the program and the personal challenges that I faced throughout the demands of the program made me realize that I'm a lot stronger than I ever thought I was, and that I'm able to do a lot more than I ever thought I would be able to do. And I would say that that's the biggest thing. I think I've mentioned imposter syndrome maybe many times. I even felt it again this morning when my name was called up to come sit here. But you're all going to do an incredible job. And as you said, I mean, it's all going to be individualized based on what you put in and what you want to get out of it. So I think that that's the biggest thing that I've learned, that like I can do anything. It sounds so, I don't know the word in English, like cursi, you know? It sounds like so silly, but it's true. And yeah, I don't know what else.
What about you, Sasha,
about.
Miguel? How does your next best you look? Is there a next?
Well,
is there a next best you?
It is not a purpose, the thing that you find. I think it's more like a journey, no? And how you transform as a person and what you find important in your life. You will allocate time for that and the things that you get rid of during the time. And obviously, you become a better person always. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you will know better what is important and what is not. And that's the way you prioritize. But still is up to, Betsy said as well, up to you, what you want to get from it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to learn a lot of new stuff, like, I don't know, marketing, operations, finance. Oh, a lot of finance. You're going to love it.
Well, you signed up for extra, so that's on you.
Oh, that's their cohort.
That's what they did. Can we please have extra sessions on finance at 9:30
my
at
cohort
night?
was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, so you're going to be learning like a lot of hard skills, but you're also going to be learning a lot about yourself. And I mean, that is something I didn't expect, right? And you're going to learn a lot of soft skills. Again, you kind of expect, okay, I'm going to learn finance, operations, stuff like that, but soft skills, I mean, but for me, it feels like maybe the most valuable part of MBA. And with those skills, like after kind of collaborating with a really diverse team, really diverse environment, the way you see, I don't know, life, your path, your purpose, etc., you choose, it's kind of evolving. And I do agree with Miguel Angel, so it's not like I changed it and yeah, done. It's more of a journey. Exactly.
With a whole bunch of international friends to support you during the journey and after as well. I would say that that's one of the best things.
How much are you in touch with your
all the time
group?
All the
still?
time. We just saw each other a few months ago. A few of us met up in Dusseldorf. So my first group, I don't know if it's still the same, that people get to choose their last group. Yes. Okay. So we chose each other again. Someone from Russia, from Yemen, from Colombia, from Peru, me from the United States but living here in Madrid, from Spain, and somebody from Nigeria as well. We all just met up about 2 months ago in Dusseldorf. Our Carlos moved to Dusseldorf a year ago, and so we all met up. And now we're planning our next journey to go visit Evgeny, who now lives in Cyprus, who moved from Siberia to Cyprus. And we're going to hopefully all meet up at the end of August. I mean, that's the best part. We are in communication with each other on a daily basis. Obviously, you know, you're not going to be best friends with everybody, which is totally fine. That's life. But I think that everybody, at least from all of the other cohorts that I've spoken with, find kind of their core people, their safe space. And it's one of the best parts of the program. Just, I haven't really been in very many spheres. I mean, at IE, yes, but like I hadn't really been in very many educational spheres where I was one of the only people from the US in the room, which is great. I loved being, there were two people, and myself and one other person, and it just adds so much value to your life, to the way you communicate with people, the way you understand people, your general knowledge of your privilege, I think, in my personal case. It's one of the best parts about the program. So embrace each other's differences.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Last week I was in Segovia with one of the other current groups, and I ran into an alumni He was there teaching. So he was from the May 18 intake. So he graduated in 19, and he just showed me a picture that the week before they had all met. Well, not all, but a lot of them had met up in Mexico. One of them was hosting and stuff like that. So, and we have a lot of examples of students who have, recommended each other for jobs, have hired each other, who have started things together. So really make sure that you embrace the network that you have right here. We will introduce you to people from other programs whenever we possibly can, and you will see that we have impact hours again, and this and that and the other that goes on. And sign up for whatever is interesting and works for you, but make sure that you really, really work on the network that you have, and be valuable to the network, and then take advantage of the network, right? So it's both ways as well. Yeah.
Speaking of the network, do you have a career center where you work with organizations that recruit directly from IE, from this cohort? How does it work?
So you actually have a career session next week. So you will have introduction to what the Career Center offers and everything, but you will also see that you have sessions with the career department throughout the entire program. And yes, you have an advisor specifically for this intake. We have companies that hire directly for IE. I will also be honest to say that the companies that do that tend to be looking for more undergrad, like more junior positions, because that's when you hire directly from schools. For your network, and you will see that this is more an executive level. So it's more by reference. So you will also have sessions on how to get on the radar of headhunters. You will have at the very end of the program, you will have the access to a career advisor. So remember we were talking about the coaching, so you will have the first thing, that is your first, I hope you've sent out the 360s. Reminder. It just saved us an announcement. So anyways, so you will have the 360 now, and then you will have executive coaching, so where you work on yourself and, on who are you as a leader and what is it that you want to do with yourselves and everything. And then you have access to a career advising. So how do I put that into? What gaps do I need to fill? What industries do I have access to? Are my dreams readily obtainable, or should I work on things? And these kinds of things. So yes, you will have access to that. Companies that hire directly for IE don't tend to hire executive profiles, just because that's not how executive hiring works. Yeah? Maybe I should have let you answer that, actually, Carlos. Carlos says that was correct. Sign that up as a participation. Right, any other questions? I don't know how we're doing for time because I'm just sitting here without a watch. So just, you know me, just tell me to be quiet when I need to be quiet because we can go on.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I'm that guy, sorry. This is the easy question, like the two previous were kind of difficult and blurry. How were the face-to-face periods? Were they fun? I mean,
awesome. They're amazing.
So bored.
Don't miss one.
Yeah.
Don't miss.
Don't miss one.
Yeah, you guys, you made an important decision. You made a huge commitment. Take most of it, and like the face-to-face is probably the best place to make connections, like meaningful relationships, make friends, and make sure you make good memories.
I mean, this is your first one. You guys barely know each other, but you're gonna have I don't know how long it is, a week?
Week and a half.
A week and a half, nice. Do they have another one in, what month are we in? We're in April. Oh,
so we have April and we have September, and then there's Segovia.
September longer, like 2 weeks, like or no?
No,
anyway.
No, so it's 1.5 weeks now, and then it's 1 week in
They're
September.
great. They're absolutely incredible. The second one for me was the best because we had already met each other in person, and then we all were thrown back online. And I think one of the questions that you had sent us is how well do you get to really know people online? I think you get to know people extremely well online because you're in constant communication with people and working with them every single day. And it's so nice to then be able to go back and be all together after having worked together for so many months online and not being able to physically hug each other and touch each other and see each other and be together in the same room. I would encourage you as well that, I mean, I am from New York, but I live here in Madrid, and I only had 2 other people in my cohort that live in Madrid. So for me, it was always like very bittersweet when everybody like left. I felt like everybody just like left me and abandoned me in Madrid. But I would encourage you, I mean, we had like about 6 or 7 people that were in Lima that would, you know, meet up regularly and send pictures in the group. So if you are in that position where you can physically meet up with people, you should do that as well. But yeah, the residential periods are amazing. I kind of wish, I know that we have that, no, as the alumni reunion, but there should be more with specific cohorts. It's magical. It's absolutely wonderful.
It's also different after the program, right? Because during the program, we kind of make you come.
Of course.
So,
yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
it's easier to tell your workplace. But yes, if you can meet up, it's a good idea.
And it's also really important as well because I think that's when you give out the new groups for the new term.
Yes.
So I thought that it was very useful to be able to have that FaceTime with your new group to sit down and establish how are we going to work? How are we going to organize ourselves? What is your availability? What is your time zone? Are we springing ahead? Are we falling back? You know, what are we doing with the time zone? So it's important to have that establishment, I think, from the beginning in the face-to-face period so that no expectations are convoluted online.
Exactly. So especially for the first group, like you have a chance to get to know each other better during the face-to-face. It will help you a lot in the teamwork. So just do it.
Thank you very much. Just do it. I think that's an amazing famous last words. So thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for, answering my email again. I was a little afraid. So no, it's always wonderful to have you back at IE. And we're going to take a little break now. The group picture is here. Is that what you're trying to? Okay. In our generation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. But I felt that it was like, it was the clicking. I was like, yes. Okay. So we're gonna take a little break now. So everybody please come up here because we're gonna have a group picture. You will learn that about me. Every chance I get, I will yell out group picture, and then everybody has to come. It's the rule. I was about to say I didn't make it up, but I did. So we're going to have a group picture here.